Hello, Guardians. Welcome back to Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Deer. Again, alongside me, as always, is the Leviathan absorbing Josh Finney.
Oh my God, Corey, I'm so tired. I'm so tired today.
Has it been a week, Josh?
It's not that it's been a week. It's like today was a particularly busy day. Like I'm trying to keep up stuff for our other show, and we're in the middle of a really busy season for games, and it like hasn't even ramped up to 11 yet.
Yeah.
But today we woke up to a Nintendo Direct first thing in the morning. And then we had the State of Play this evening.
Yeah.
Afternoon, evening, whatever. Tokyo Game Show is coming up in the next couple of days.
Yeah.
Man. And like both the Nintendo Direct and the State of Play had several announcements that were awesome that we've been waiting a while for. Your excitement probably depends on how much do you like Mario and or JRPGs.
Yeah.
But Corey, F-Zero lives.
I know you're excited about that.
F-Zero lives. Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door lives. Yeah,
which is funny because I owned Thousand Year Door and I never played it, and I just sold it for like $150.
I still have it. I still have it in storage. It's one of like a dozen GameCube games I still have.
Yeah.
I'm very excited. Seriously, one of my all-time favorite Nintendo games. One of the earliest RPGs I can remember playing. So really excited that's coming back. I love F-Zero. F-Zero was the original racer that I fell in love with on the N64, and the balls-crushingly difficult F-Zero GX story mode on the GameCube. That was, I think I was like 11 or 12 when that came out, and I damn near threw my controller across the room in like the first real race. It is to this day one of the hardest games I've ever played. What else? They showed a couple other cool things. So there's some obscure Nintendo stuff coming, but this is very much like the victory lap phase for the Switch.
Yeah, this Direct definitely felt like, hey, this console's probably going to, be our primary platform for at least another year. We need to put some stuff on this. What games are cheap and can be remastered? Oh, Paper Mario? That sounds good.
I'm genuinely surprised, given the state of everything, that Super Mario Brothers Wonder is actually going to come out on this console.
Yeah, but I think that's because the Odyssey team is working on something that they're launching.
The Odyssey team has to be the launch title for the next console, which the person who accurately leaked just about everything in this Direct has said that March 2024 is what they keep hearing for the new console. So which I mean lines up with the original Switch.
Yeah.
And also makes for like the busiest month of my life in gaming if that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Because on the State of Play side of things, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is coming out 2 days after the final shape, Corey.
Yeah,
I'm scared. Yeah. It's coming out on Leap Day, which is kind of cool. Might be like
Zack is in it.
Zack is in it. Sephiroth is playable.
Yeah.
Vincent Valentine was shown, and the game is going to end at that scene, Corey. It's going to end at that Final Fantasy scene.
Yeah, I assume.
Which is,
you think they'll change it at all?
Oh, I mean, this entire game is going to be completely different from anything that you remember in Final Fantasy VII, because
I don't remember Final Fantasy VII because I played 2 hours of it.
For anybody who has ever played, for anybody who's played Remake, we were like, God, how can you only release like a quarter of the game, and then you get to the end of it and you understand why there was only a quarter of it. Yeah. The end of Remake, like most of Remake, follows 7's plot pretty to the T, except just expanded. And then you get to the end and you're like, oh my God, they're doing that. They're doing something that you never expected. Because the post credits, it was the revelation that Zack is alive.
Mm-hmm.
So some of us have been waiting since early 2020 to see where this is going to go.
Yeah.
I am absolutely over the moon that we're getting as big of a game as we are. They put out a statement today saying 100+ hours of story content and exploration, and it is an open world that you can traverse. There's some mini games in it, including Chocobo Racing. There's a game that is clearly taking the PS1 visuals. It looks like a fighting mini game that's taking those visuals, which looks really cool. Cloud rides a Segway at one point.
Neat.
This is like maybe visually the most stunning game I've ever seen in my life. Man, if you don't have an OLED screen, this is the game you buy it for, I feel.
Yeah.
So really excited. I really hope that they got some of the, it looks like the way the combat was playing, it looks like they may have gotten some of the 16 team over there to help with that, which really encouraging to me. So that
Yeah.
game looks awesome. They were driving vehicles across the world. They were driving a fucking four-wheeler at one point, like a fucking Jeep.
Yeah.
That just mwah, chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. That looked awesome and made up for just the steaming pile of shit I had to watch outside of that. Spider-Man 2 continues to look awesome. He's got the Iron Spider suit. That was cool.
Yeah, I saw.
That
Yeah,
was
I
really
saw.
cool. But yeah, I basically watched for those two things and for Tales of Arise DLC coming out.
Hmm. I was waiting for an update on Wolverine, and they
You're
didn't
gonna keep
update.
waiting.
So I know I am.
There was no way they were gonna show anything else of that game before Spider-Man comes out.
No, I know. I just
Maybe summer showcase next year.
yeah, I mean that game's like probably at least 2 years away.
It's probably like holiday 25 if I had to guess.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah, no, great day. My February is completely booked. Nobody released anything else in February. I've got Persona 3 Reload, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, and the Final Shape all coming out.
yeah, it's
Honestly, if we could just go ahead and like skip March at this point, that'd probably be better
hmm,
because
yeah.
two of those are gonna be all I play in March.
Yeah. It's going to be a busy I don't know. I just feel like it's always busy at this point now.
We're at the point in the, not just in the console cycles, but like where everything that's been backed up because of like COVID and staffing issues is like finally coming out.
Yeah.
So yeah, we might get to breathe a little next summer, but I feel like it's going to be pretty nonstop until then.
Yeah. I'm very excited for the Sora amiibo.
Uh, Man, I got my Tears of the Kingdom amiibos pre-ordered. I
Yeah.
got shirtless Ganondorf and
Mm,
Zelda on the way. Had to get them.
mm.
Did
I will
you? Are you getting the Xenoblade Chronicles ones?
no. I don't
Are
really
you
care
going to
about
get Sora?
I will get Sora.
I'll
Yes.
probably get Sora as well, knowing that's the final Smash amiibo.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, there's definitely amiibo. I kind of stopped with the amiibo just because they were so short printed, and then they
mhm.
just became too expensive, and I'm just like, meh.
I stopped because what I really cared about in the beginning was just the Zelda and a handful of the Smash Brothers ones,
Hmm.
and then like cut to a couple years later, and because it really felt like after Breath of the Wild they dropped off of them,
Hmm.
and then it's like, oh damn, you're gonna like sporadically put these out that I want, like oh the DLC characters are being made, and like well I really like Sephiroth, I need Sephiroth, uh. I really like Banjo Kazooie. I need Banjo Kazooie. I got Joker.
Hmm.
I'm glad I got Joker
Yeah.
before he became worth like $200.
Yeah. No. No female Byleth though. I was very. I was
That
kind of
didn't
upset.
surprise me, honestly.
Well,
Um,
they did player two versions of a ton of other
well,
characters
they
though.
did those because those were supposed to be the final ones, and then they came out and announced Smash Ultimate like 2 years later. Because I have
Oh.
the player two versions of Cloud and Corrin.
Hmm.
So it was like, and I saw a bunch of people like commenting on it. And it's like, well, I understand why they did them there, but like, then you're gonna have everybody and their mother asking for alternate versions of characters, and I just think that was like Nintendo kind of regretted going down that path. I got the sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they did it for a lot of the Splatoon characters too, which is funny because there's Smash Splatoon characters, and then there then there's Splatoon
The
characters.
Splatoon ones were kind of weird that they went down that rabbit hole, and they do it
Yeah.
with like every set. I don't get that. But like in terms of the Smash ones, because that's the ones that like people fervently collect.
Yeah.
I think that they were just like, we kind of made a mistake here.
Yeah.
We kind of messed up.
Plus, like, I mean, when the amiibo first started coming out, the Toys to Life game stuff was like in its you know heyday or whatever, and
Yeah.
then yeah, obviously they just fell off real quick, and
Well, I mean, Amiibo damn near got run into the ground and run out of town because of the Animal Crossing ones.
uh, yeah,
How
when they were like a
overstocked
dollar a
those were.
piece.
Yeah. But like the physical ones, like that's why they shifted to the cards, and the cards was always a better move for that stuff.
Yeah. And now like the Animal Crossing ones are worth a ton because of because Animal Crossing became huge on
Just like out of nowhere. Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. I saw plenty today that I was like, I will play these games, but if I don't get them right away, that's fine.
Yeah,
Like, I want to play Luigi's Mansion 2 since that was originally a DS release, so I've never played it. I was like,
yeah.
it really depends on when it comes out and what else I'm playing at the time.
I think it comes out in March. I think
Oh
they're
god, yeah, I'm not getting to it then. I thought it was, for some reason I thought it
oh,
was like summer.
it's not. It is summer.
Okay.
You're right. What's coming out in March? I don't know.
I don't know,
Whatever.
and I'm afraid to ask at this point. I know
Yeah,
the Trace Memory pack is supposed to come out in like February or March. It's like
yeah,
that's how Nintendo gets the money from me. Is like, let's release something obscure from his childhood that only he
yeah,
remembers and charge him $50 for it.
yeah. That Princess Peach game comes out in March.
Oh,
I knew it was
okay.
one of
Well,
those.
I feel okay with that. Looks cool, but I feel okay skipping that right away
Yeah.
just because
My
it's going to be
daughter.
so busy.
Yeah, my daughter thought the trailer looked cool, but
I think that's different. Like you got a kid who's at the perfect age for it.
mhm,
So, like, I mean, my girlfriend's probably going to want to play it, so we may end up picking it up. But we're going to be playing Super Mario Wonder together, so
yeah.
we'll be playing that together as a couple. And I know she wants that, and she wants to get the Avatar game. She really liked the trailer this afternoon for that.
Oh yeah, I
But I was
forgot
like,
that
hey,
game
that's a
was coming out.
Ubisoft game. We're going to wait 3 weeks for it to go on sale.
Yeah, I forgot that game was coming out.
I keep forgetting, and they keep reminding me. So,
Yeah. When does speaking of Ubisoft, when does that Star Wars game come out?
sometime next year. I
Thank you.
heard it was targeting March, but I don't think they can release that in March.
Yeah,
I have probably like late April, early May is when they're gonna put it out. Like May 4th. Honestly, I could see May 4th being when they put that out.
that'd be a great release date for that.
Because they kind of have like, that's a sweet spot for them. That's when they put out Jedi Survivor this year. They put out Lego Star Wars last year.
Hmm.
That would be a really good time frame for them to drop it.
Yeah,
And May 4th is a Saturday this year, so you could put it out on that Friday.
yeah.
Um, so curious to see what happens there. Um, yeah, man, it's a great time. There's like we always say, there's not enough time to consume all the good media, and that's just in games.
Yeah.
I haven't even started Ahsoka. Um,
Oh my gosh, dude,
I
Ahsoka's
probably
awesome.
won't.
Oh man, it's
Ahsoka is the
awesome. I
first
love it.
Star Wars thing I think I'm going to skip in like years.
Oh man, it's really
I
good.
don't like Ahsoka as a character. That
Oh,
I'm about to get a whole bunch of angry nerds in my mentions. I don't like Ahsoka as a character. I don't think that she's interesting at all. And I think that it's because like I came along at the exact wrong time.
hmm.
Where I already had like 5 years of Clone Wars shit ingrained into my brain, and then all that was just like wiped off the slate. And that was like largely better Clone Wars material, in my opinion.
Oh, you're talking about like the 2D and
Well, I like
not
the
the
2D
not the
animated
new.
show, but they had a whole multimedia initiative for years about the Clone Wars. Like, I'm talking, we had like 15 books wiped off the slate. We had all these comics, and like, there's a whole plot line where Obi-Wan Kenobi sacrifices himself, and the Jedi Council thinks he's dead. So Anakin has to become the Padawan to somebody on the council, and it's like you get two dual narratives of like Anakin in training and like Obi-Wan fighting his way back. There was the whole Asajj Ventress story, like the tension between her and Anakin and Obi-Wan. There was an undead bounty hunter they were fighting, Dirge. Grievous was actually scary in this shit. Um, there was a lot of stuff. I mean, we had a whole novel that detailed Mace Windu's background. All that no longer exists. And it was some of my favorite Star Wars content ever. So I'm still a little bit bitter about that, like 15 years later.
Josh
Um,
is salty, everybody.
I'm really salty. I will admit I like what they do with her eventually, because I think the Siege of Mandalore is like one of the best things they've ever done in Star Wars, at least with Disney Star Wars.
Yeah, yeah.
Siege of Mandalore was really cool, and I like Rebels is fine. Like it's fine. That's the best thing I can say about it, is it's fine. Grand Admiral Thrawn being reduced to being the villain on a children's show, though, did not sit well with me.
Hmm.
I don't like the
Yeah.
whole world between worlds thing either. I think that's a cop out.
Mm.
So I will recant my slander and say I will eventually watch it. I'm waiting for the whole series to be out, and I'll just like pick and choose what I want to watch. Honestly, if they would just tell me Grand Admiral Thrawn is here, Josh, you don't have to look at the same picture you've seen for the last 8 months. He's here.
Mm. Yeah.
He's here. The Blue Man Group has arrived in Star Wars. Then I'd be way more invested.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Blue
waiting
Man Group.
for. Live action Rebels ain't doing it for me. So
I
I'm
didn't
waiting.
see. I didn't watch Rebels or Clone Wars, and
That's wild.
the thing the thing is like everybody was like, "Oh, you have to watch all these." I mean, the first episode, I figured it out. Everybody, I didn't watch either of those shows, and I figured it out. So
No, it's not that deep.
I'm like, these are children's cartoons, essentially. You know, like I figured it out.
Yeah, we're not stupid, guys. I
Yeah,
hate to break to everyone. You know what was in depth though, Corey? If I can transition us,
sure,
today's
you can
TWAB
transition.
was wild.
Yeah,
Yeah,
was it crazy?
yeah. So I don't know if you've had a chance to read this yet.
I have not. I will. I'm opening it right now. I actually
So
forgot because we were talking about stuff.
that's okay. We're gonna start here at the top because a good chunk of this TWAB is about legendary shards.
Ooh,
It's shard to say goodbye.
ah,
Legendary shards have long been an unstable part of the economy in Destiny 2. Some players have more than they would ever be able to spend, while others struggle to earn enough to engage with the systems that require shards at the cost. This often made it hard to find legendary shard costs that would feel impactful to players, while also ensuring the content that did require shards could be enjoyed by all players, no matter how long or how much they play. Couple the wealth disparity with the fact we've seen more than a few loopholes players have found to farm. Our regards to Rahul and Evil Levante, and more recently to Ikora, we made the decision it's time to simplify the economy by removing this currency from the game.
that's wild.
I want to finish reading what they say, and then we're going to discuss. And they have already had to put out a statement on this on the Destiny 2 account.
Oh,
Um,
jeez.
for a long time now, it's been our goal to make the game easier to understand and reduce the bloat of currencies, consumables, and items, while ensuring that players feel like their time is valued for how long they've spent playing the many activities across the game. Sometimes we get this right, sometimes we don't, but we always learn. As much as we know how bad it feels to have currencies you have amassed over a long period of time wiped away, please know we don't make the decision to remove them lightly. We truly believe their removal is in the best interest of both the game and the players. As you will see below, we are doing our best to ensure the removal of legendary shards is not a point of pain, but rather removal of a barrier. So they're going to start this in season 23. Season 23 is going to start with the removal of all shard costs from the Monument to Lost Lights. Glimmer, exotic ciphers, and spoils of conquest costs will remain the same, with only the legendary shard cost changing. This should help new returning players unlock weapons they may have missed more easily than ever before. Secondly, we turn our eyes towards ritual gear, focusing fully removing shards from there as well. Non-adept focusing will cost ritual engrams and glimmer only. Focusing adept weapons will still require 7 wins in trials passages or 10 nightfall ciphers. And they have a chart here that details everything. So the what you call it, here's part of the problem. This is part of why people were upset. I want to read this before we get into a discussion. To be totally clear, we will not be offering a currency exchange for stockpiled legendary shards. The goal when removing shards is to make Destiny 2 a more approachable and fair experience for all players, so we're not raising glimmer prices for items or adding replacement costs to things that previously needed legendary shards. They will also disappear from the currency bar in your inventory. It will now only show your glimmer, silver, and bright dust numbers. Now, let's discuss for a moment, because this is not the currency I expected them to do away with.
Yeah.
I understand. First of all, I understand where they're coming from. I have seen the barrier myself multiple times with friends who do not play nearly as regularly as I do. I'm sitting over here with 50,000 legendary shards. They're struggling to get 500.
Yeah.
I understand that completely. And if you just dilute it to the point where you're getting it as often as Glimmer, that's a problem.
Yeah.
However, if you're going to make Glimmer the main source of everything, because for example, to purchase an Iron Banner weapon, it's going to cost you 5 engrams, five Iron Banner engrams, and 25,000 Glimmer per focus.
Mm-hmm.
That in and itself is not too wild, because I expect them to give us a ton of engrams. And I mean, things like Crucible, Vanguard, I'm drowning in those engrams every season. Rather, what I see as the bigger problem is they're going to have to get a lot more generous on Trials engrams. They're going to have to get more generous on Iron Banner ones. I would
Hmm.
even say like Nightfall. They're going to have to get more generous on all of that stuff. But also the Glimmer cap is going to have to be raised from 250,000 to. I mean, I don't think it's an exaggeration to say we need to bump it to like 1 million.
Yeah, but I'm also like, if you're
Because
dismantling any,
five focusings is going to take all of your shards or all your glimmers.
yeah, yeah, I'm trying to think though, like if you're not getting like when you go to dismantle weapons and stuff, you're getting glimmer instead, right? Like that's
You are
what
getting
I'm
glimmers.
taking from
So
this.
they have a chart here for dismantle rewards. It's a little bit further down, but for example, dismantling a blue weapon gets you 75 glimmer. 1,000 for a legendary piece of armor, 2,000 for a piece of exotic armor. Same for ghosts and for weapons. That is not enough glimmer. I'm gonna be honest, that's not enough glimmer because you can blow. I blow through the glimmer as it is right now, just when I'm trying to like refocus uh transmog bounties, or if I go play a weekend of trials. To buy a trials to be able to even engage in trials is 25,000 glimmer right there. And that's not a problem on its face. It's going to be a problem when I'm trying to focus my weapons. It's going to be a problem when I'm trying to get my bounties. It's going to be a problem when I have my passage, or if I need to, if I decide I'm going to buy a different passage or something.
Hmm.
It's going to be a problem during Iron Banner, during like limited events like Iron Banner that only come around 3 times a season. That's going to be a problem. And like how does this stack up in like events like Festival of the Lost or Dawning going forward?
Yeah.
I think that's my biggest issue here, is because I understand wanting to make the game simpler, but like I don't think that it was particularly complicated with Legendary Shards. Just like add a generic shard reward to everything you do. I
Hmm.
don't know what else to tell you guys. Like, I get wanting to remove it to make it easier on everyone, and that's fine. Like, not all of us get to enjoy those exploits. Like, half the time, by the time we get around to them, they've already been disabled.
Yeah.
Um, I've seen a lot of players upset that you're not going to get any sort of trade in for these, and I get it, because you don't want it to be too out of whack. Like I've seen suggestions of, well, go stock up on raid banners, for example. Like raid banners. That's another thing that costs too much glimmer, right? Like,
Hmm.
you need to go stock up on raid banners. Like, I myself am going to get several stacks and just throw them into my vault. Um, I'm gonna buy a bunch of the crafting golf balls, because I can buy those, once or twice a week now with my shards, just to use some of them before the end.
Hmm.
But I don't think, I think that the concern from some players is unfounded of, whoa, we're not going to get anything in return. Like, I think they've thought that we're going to get something in return every time that something's been deprecated, ever since the Bright Dust economy changes back before Shadowkeep.
Hmm.
Shadowkeep or Beyond Light, one of those two is when it happened. I want to say it was Shadowkeep, but there's been this expectation that, oh, they're just going to give us Bright Dust for it. So I literally saw that as a proposal from somebody, give us Bright Dust for all of our shards, and I just started laughing like, no, that's not going to happen. Like, give me Bright Dust equivalent to how many shards I have. Nah, there's people running around with like 200,000 shards. They're not going to. Maybe if you put like a cap on how much Bright Dust, but they aren't going to give you that much. There's no way.
Yeah.
They're not going to go into everybody's account and add like 50,000 Bright Dust. There's no way.
Yeah. There's no way.
So part of me wants to try and be as positive. I'm trying to be positive about this change, because I really don't think it's that big of a deal. It's rather, you need to raise the cap on Glimmer's pretty much going to be the only currency that we interact with, right? We've seen that they have made an effort to not have currencies to deal with at the vendor tables anymore, and that's good. Like, if this is a game that truly you want people to just be able to jump in and play, you needed to get rid of a lot of these currencies. At the
Hmm.
same time, this is an MMO, and MMOs have currencies. So you got to strike that middle ground, and I don't think that like getting rid of legendary shards is like necessarily bad. I don't know if it's necessarily good. I want to read what Bungie's response to this has been. They've added it into the TWAB. I thought I was going to have to go scroll through Twitter. We see the feedback on legendary shard removal regarding Glimmer and the prices of focusing. As part of this change, we will also be increasing drops of Glimmer, ritual engrams, Iron Banner engrams, and materials of other kinds across many parts of the game. This is an early look at the plan, and final values are still being tweaked. Our goal is to put greater emphasis on earning rewards by playing Destiny the way y'all want. I'm okay with that statement. I do not like that they specifically said that they're going to increase the drop of Iron Banner engrams without referring to trials, because trials is not a ritual activity. Let's be honest. That's a little concerning to me. Um, but I guess that's part of the trade off. Um, but they're basically like, we are not taking that. We're not taking this lightly.
Yeah.
That this is far enough out, and I think them being this transparent, because this is a change that's not going to be fully implemented until the final shape comes out. Them
Right.
being this open 5.5 months out is pretty telling as far as I'm concerned, because that's being like, hey, we want to know what you guys think because we still have time to change certain aspects of this.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that's something worth keeping in mind. This is also causing a change at Zur, which is addressed further down. I think I saw people citing and saying that this was actually addressed in the post show for the final shape reveal event, which none of us watched. We were too busy recording the reaction, but apparently they hinted in there. Joe Blackburn hinted that strange coins are going to be used at Zur again.
Hmm.
So we'll see how that one goes.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, like let's be honest. If there's a currency that you're going to keep using, at least use the iconic strange coins.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. Like, what do we ultimately think here, Corey?
I mean, this man, the strange coins, man, that means you got to do do the
Well, I mean, they can update. They could update strange coins to drop from anything. It's been long enough that they should drop from other activities, and like
yeah,
raise the cap on them. Don't keep them capped at 23.
yeah,
That's always part of the problem there, I think.
yeah. I mean, this man, it's so weird because they already simplified the economy to for the shards to use everything, right? Be used for everything instead of like the other currencies, right? So the fact that they're simplifying it even more, like I get it. I agree that the glimmer cap has to be raised, you know.
Hmm. If
But
you're
I
going to be
also
charging
think,
this much, you have to raise the glimmer cap.
but I also think they to kind of circumvent this, they're going to drop more glimmer during any activity, and you'll get more glimmer when you open the chests at the end. Uh, I think they're going to provide more ways to get glimmer since they're taking away.
Well, they did. I mean, they say that. I think my bigger issue is like I need them to raise that cap, and I need them to
Yeah,
confirm that now.
yeah. I mean, I know they say it, but I mean, it's got to be by like a pretty significant amount. Um,
Yeah,
even
I think if you would just come out and like address that, I think that most of the fan base concerns would be just reduced to panic for nothing, and that's like I'm trying not to freak out. This is 6 months away,
mhm,
but it's like for so long we've needed legendary shards for everything, and like Glimmer has very much been like this joke in the background until recently. I feel like the
yeah,
last couple of seasons they've been putting an emphasis on it again. And that's fine. I've noticed myself spending more and more glimmer. I don't know who these people are who are running out all the time, but if that's going to be the primary cost of focusing and you're going to bump the cost of focusing up across the board, then yeah, we need to be seeing a little bit more. You saying you're going to drop more engrams, that's fine. Most of them are held at the vendors now, but like I feel like we kind of need an increase on the amount of engrams you can hold. Maybe that can't be something that can be done until we leave the old systems behind. But
yeah. I
across the board, you got to increase the amount of shit we can hold.
Yeah, I agree with that, but also if you're running out of glimmer, that tells me that you're not playing enough to even like do some of
Or
this
you're
stuff,
focusing
right?
too much. You're focusing too many things because there is an exponential glimmer cost required to masterwork certain things.
Yeah,
So like if you're masterworking a bunch of exotics or you play across three classes, I can understand how you're running out. Um, like I personally don't play that way, so I think it's a little silly, but I can see how it's happening.
yeah,
Just it shouldn't be happening that often. Like a couple times a season, I kind of get it, but it's just like when people were like, "Oh, I got to run the spider and trade things in." Like, why? Why? And then
yeah,
I remember I play one class. I play one
yeah,
class. I stick to the stuff that I like. The end.
yeah. You're right.
So, all right. Well, man, what a thing to kick off this
Yeah,
twab
that's
with.
a man. That's such a it's so weird, man. Hmm. I don't know. I don't know how I feel actually.
Yeah, I think it's something that we kind of like need to sit on a little bit. All I know is seeing that it's going to require me. So, among the things that are good, new ritual weapons are going to require 1 engram, 0 glimmer to decrypt. Great change. Phenomenal change. Love it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Standard ritual pool weapons, 3 Ingrams, 5,000 Glimmer. That's feeling a lot less good. Ritual pool armor, who cares about that? Well, you get it once and you're probably done. Legacy weapons, 5 Ingrams, 15,000 Glimmer. Feeling a lot less inviting there to newer players, by the way.
Uh,
And then Iron Banner, Nightfall weapons, and Trials weapons, 5 Ingrams, 25k Glimmer apiece.
hmm.
That is
I mean, that
absurd.
I think maybe for something like Trials that makes sense, but because it's Trials is usually like where the tryhards
So
go, right?
the
But
only
like
trade off
for
I will make with Trials with you is, and we're going to talk about this change a little bit further down. They announced it on Twitter last week, so I don't know if we got a chance to talk about it ahead of time, but Trials weapons are now going to greatly increase dropping to the point where you're almost guaranteed one if you win a match in Trials. So that's the only way that I can rationalize, like, okay, I'm kind of okay with this taking 5 Ingrams and 25k Glimmer to do. But also, it's it's a grind to get the rep there. If anything, I would argue that it needs to be less. Like, Iron Banner rep is significantly easier to get than Trials rep. Like, I can
yeah.
make the argument that Iron Banner rep should stay where it is,
Mhm.
or 5 Ingrams.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's the pinnacle PvP you want everyone to play. I really think the highest cost should be across the board. Even if you increase the drop of Ingrams, it should be 3 Ingrams.
Yeah.
I think 3 is the most for these activities. I think it should go 1, 2. You should have categories to go 1, 2, and 3. If it is a new weapon for this season, 1 Ingram, little to no Glimmer cost in any activity, I think, with the exception of the Nightfall and I would say Trials weapons. But like Iron Banner, Crucible, Vanguard, and Gambit, 1 Ingram. 1 Ingram, no Glimmer.
Yeah.
There's no excuse that you can't make that more inviting. Like, you want people to come play PvP, that's how you're going to get people to play PvP, is they feel they
Yeah.
can earn it. And I know they specifically say we're going to get more Iron Banner Ingrams, but that's great. You need to bring Trials in either in line with that and give out a bunch more Ingrams, or you need to reduce the cost pretty drastically, because even tryhards are going to get annoyed at that.
Yeah.
And like, and I understand that like Trials doesn't have like the best loot anymore, but
Yeah.
it's wild that we're going to announce these changes in a season where we just got brand new armor also.
Mhm.
That's already like, you're already trying to get that, and you're
Yeah.
random rolling your Ingrams to try and get that too. I would say that the thing for me is, like, I look at the Trials loot pool and I go, okay, so Igneous Hammer and Messenger are like 2 of the best weapons in the game right now for primaries. Like,
Yeah.
you want those. The others, I don't think there's anything else that's like really like life changing, but there's always a try. Oh, excuse me, Immortal is still in there. Like, there's always a weapon or two that people go nuts over, and they already have it in Trials to where you can't focus for the weapon unless you've earned it, unless you've unlocked it already. So it's already hard enough to get it into your loot pool. Some of us don't even get it in there in a single season. Some of us have to wait another season to get it. And I think that's part of the frustrating factor of it. So I don't know, just kind of like food for thought. Right into to the Discord. Maybe I'll put up a question thread this week. How do you guys feel about these changes?
Yeah.
Because I wanted there was some discussion going on in there today. I did not get a chance to read too much of it. I kind of threw my 2 cents out there, and that was it. Um, let's talk a little bit more Crota's End here, Corey.
Yeah, let's talk about
We gotta
Crota.
talk some numbers, and we gotta talk oversoul drops. So Crota's End numbers. This is from the world's first weekend. This is from contest and challenge modes. 500,000 525,000 guardians entered Crota's End across that 48 hours. Of that, only half of those cleared lanterns.
Jeez.
Only
Only
half cleared
half clear.
lanterns. It goes down by 50% pretty much every encounter. Of that, only 145,000 cleared the Oversoul Throne Bridge.
Oh my gosh.
Only 78,000 cleared Ear Ute. 37,000 cleared Crota.
Oh my gosh.
37,000 Guardians cleared. I don't know if this is unique clears or if it's counting people who did double, but
Yeah.
some real quick math here. That is 6,286 teams that cleared Crota.
Oh my gosh.
That is the lowest completion for fire teams since the Garden of Salvation. And you know what? It was pretty great. We had almost 4 million total hours were spent in the raid, and out of that, 53 million Guardian deaths.
Jesus.
Just absolutely wild. So hey, if you cleared it at all on contest or on challenge, hats off to you, man. You completed one of the absolute
Man,
hardest runs.
half didn't even clear the lanterns.
Half didn't even clear lanterns. I mean,
Oh my god.
Corey, lanterns on contest was not a joke.
No, I understand that. It's just like I understand that contest mode is hard, and then obviously challenge mode
Yeah,
is even harder, right? But like, man, lanterns, man.
lanterns. Yep. Because I think part of the problem is because that was my reaction at first when I went in. I was like, oh, lanterns is going to be easy, and then I looked at the second lantern and I was like, it's not even illuminated. Like we walked up to it and we all just died,
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, we have to use this new mechanic.
yeah,
But you got the mechanic, you got the swing schwangs going back and forth, booping you into holes. They're basically they were a one hit kill essentially on contest.
yeah,
Um, the thrall were hitting hard on contest. And it's much more manageable off contest, obviously, but that's still, I would say that's arguably the encounter that still takes the longest because it's like an 8.5 minute thing.
yeah,
And it feels real bad when you get up that hill and then you die.
yeah.
It feels real bad when that's where your team starts falling apart. So, but yeah. There is an update deploying on September 19th. If you're keeping score at home, that's next Tuesday for Essences of the Oversoul, which is what you need in order to get Necrochasm and its Catalyst. They have heard the feedback regarding the abysmal drop rate. Let me tell you, that drop rate is fucking awful. It is one of the worst things I have ever seen in this game. I'm sitting at
Worse than Vex.
So Vex, I would argue, was better because you had a chance at after every completion to get the gun.
Yeah,
This, you're not even guaranteed an oversoul on every run.
that's that's. Ugh.
Yeah, so here we go. Here's the change, and I think these are really generous changes, and this should reduce a lot of the frustrations that some of us have. Your first full clear of Crota's End each week will now provide 2 guaranteed essences of the Oversoul. The guaranteed weekly drop from defeating Crota, so excuse me, there was a guaranteed drop from beating Crota, which meant this could take you like 20 runs to get it under the old system if your luck was that bad. Guaranteed weekly drop from defeating Crota and an additional guaranteed drop for beating each encounter in order from start to finish. Then every time you do a full clear after, you'll still earn that additional guaranteed essence, so now there's a way to farm them. We're also increasing the drop rate of random essence of the Oversoul for repeated clears of each encounter so you can earn even more per try. Finally, we are adding a chance to strike it lucky and earn all of the essence necessary to complete both the Necrochasm quest and the Catalyst when taking Crota down during a full run. Just like getting the exotic drop in previous raids, you can now get the whole deal if Fortune smiles. I love this.
Yeah.
I love these changes. This is how it should have been from the get-go. I love it. Guarantee the exotic during contest mode and then have a chance like this afterwards. I love it. 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 I love it.
Yeah. Sounds like
Because
it
it
could.
felt real bad seeing that drop rate and knowing that the people who are going to dominate in trials this weekend, for example, are going to be running Necrochasm
Yeah.
with the Catalyst because they were able to clear it on contest. And, like, hey, hats off to you, man. All you had to do was get a contest clear
Yeah.
or finish it within the hour after contest went away because it was bugged. That's all you had to do in order to get that and at least get the Catalyst quest to start it.
Mm-hmm.
It feels really bad for the rest of us though, who are like, oh yeah, like I think Joe and I are sitting here. We've got like 4 or 5 clears, and we're sitting here with like 10 or 11 essences, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, God damn, I'd just really like to get this done. Like we were getting lucky on our runs because we were getting oversouls most completions, most encounter completions we were getting them. But this also adds like now if people are like, hey man, we need someone to come sit in on Crota's End run, I'll go sit in on it. Just one because we can complete it in an hour.
Yeah.
But two, I can get Spoils of Conquest and I can get Oversouls. I have a chance to get it on any full Crota run. I have a chance to get the exotic with the Oversouls. Now, granted, once I get that, my farming of this raid is going to drop quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I will
Yeah.
do my guaranteed run each week to get unique weapons and to have a chance at red borders, but that's going to be about it.
Yeah.
But this is still a really fun raid. I really enjoy it. I like that they're making this change now and they're not waiting until like the end of the season or something. They are deploying this within 2 weeks of the raid being out.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. That's the change. These are the changes that we want to see.
Yeah. These are good.
And then on Tuesday, we are also getting Master Mode on Crota's End.
Ooh.
Yeah, Master Mode's going to drop on the 19th. Weekly challenge will rotate every week and ask you to complete a hidden objective each time to earn a second reward when you finish a given encounter. If you're looking for more essences to either unlock Necrochasm or its catalyst, or you just want a chance for more deep sight drops, it's a good way to improve your chances. So that's the weekly challenges on any difficulty.
Mhm.
And then Master difficulty, each week, the armor drops you get will have a particular stat focus, and if you complete the weekly challenge on Master, you'll get an Adept weapon. The Adept weapon you get is random, but drops work on a knockout system. You get a new one with each challenge you complete every week until you've unlocked them all. As we implemented with the Rise of Nightmare, Root of Nightmares, Adept weapons, the weapons you get in Crota's End also allow for weapon enhancement. This will give it a weapon level, creation date, and memento socket. Though weapon leveling and spending resource through weapon leveling and spending resources, players can deterministically modify the first two perk columns, barrel, magazine, etc., at the relic and enhance the traits originally rolled on the weapon. So looking forward to that. I'll be in there doing some master runs of Crota. Want to see what the strat is for killing Crota on master. Is it still going to be swords or what? Because ammo is a problem for me in there with Lament. I'm usually running out by the end of second damage phase.
Hmm.
Let's talk about some PvP changes, Corey.
PvP.
PvP changes. I am so excited for some of this. As we teased previously, we have been working on a new Iron Banner mode that will go live in Season 23. Tribute is a supremacy-based mode where players will be able to deposit crests at tribute stations to earn points for their team. Banking many crests at once can trigger a hunt phase, which activates a special tribute station and increases the value of all crests deposited for 1 minute of gloriously chaotic gameplay. Take care, as other Guardians won't be the only things guarding these high-value tribute stations. Keitel will be watching, Guardians, so let's show her what you're made of. And also in Season 23, we are getting Citadel, the Dreaming City map back. I really love that map. It gets especially chaotic around Point B. And
Yeah.
we're tuning spawn locations on Altar of Flame, Cauldron, Anomaly, and Dead Cliffs, as well as adding strand-related Crucible medals in Season 23.
Ooh.
Yeah, I am here for it. So, whew,
Some of the
boy.
spawn points are pretty bad right now.
I mean, the Dead Cliffs has had problems with its spawning since it got introduced to the game. They've tried before to fix that, and it's never stuck. So I'm
Yeah.
curious to see what they do. That and Cauldron is so small. I'm curious to see what happens with not Cauldron. Anomaly is so small. I'm curious to see what they do there. Um, I do like the note they have at the beginning of the PvP section though. The PvP strike team is collaborating with several teams already working on PvP, and we're happy to start sharing some of the details regarding the changes players can look forward to from these groups. Some of these changes have been in the works for some time, and others are hot off the press. We really appreciate everyone sharing their feedback last week, and we've gathered it all up to help inform the work we do in the future. Antea Swords was heavily mentioned, so we decided to expedite a change we had planned for next season. We'll address this hot topic later this season, but that's not all we have planned. So there are a number of sandbox changes coming. So coming later this season, Antaeus wards will now require full class ability energy to reflect incoming damage. Reflecting damage will deplete your class ability energy. The goal is to reduce the uptime of the exotic effect and also make it more difficult to stack with Juggernaut's shield. Thank fucking God. If you've played any sort of high-end PvP over the last season and a half, Antea Swords have just been a menace. These have always been good. It's just people forget they exist for super long periods of time. And then they remember and they build into them again. And it just becomes an already oppressive class becomes even better. So I'm glad. I think that's a pretty fair trade-off. It doesn't make them completely useless. Just know what you're getting yourself into if you use Antea Swords.
Yeah.
Young Ahamkara's Spine also is getting one. We are reducing its impact on grenade uptime by making it grant energy on final blows instead of damage. So now it doesn't matter if somebody gets damaged by your grenades, you have to actually kill them with the grenade. which is nice because solar grenade trip mines feel real bad to get spammed. Coming in
Hmm.
season 23, though, increasing the recoil on SMGs to make it more of a costly trade-off to spec into range over stability. Sniper rifles. Body shot nerf is coming in the Crucible with more details to come later this season. And they're getting a damage buff in PvE, so this will be offset by that. I do like that
Ooh.
if we get something nerfed in PvP or PvE, they're trying to buff it in the other, it seems,
Hmm. Yeah.
instead of just doing it across the board. So I like that. Like, well, they're not going to be as useful in PvP. They're still going to be really good for a skilled sniper, but you can start using them in PvE for some damage again. Like, I may start busting one out once we get this change next season. Or
RC.
no, not Darcy. I might bust out my Uzum or something and start using that on witches in the Death Singer encounter, for example, or use them to help take down sword bearers for the sword bearer challenge in Crota.
Hmm.
Fusion rifles, we are decreasing the kickstart damage bonus, and damage will also fall off harder at longer ranges. Great, they feel like fucking snipers at times. Airborne effectiveness, airborne accuracy of sniper rifles and slug shotties are going to be equivalent to airborne effectiveness Icarus at their base values. It's really a lot of Titan changes. Peregrine Greaves. These will now
Yeah.
only grant bonus shoulder charge damage after being airborne for a short bit. The goal of this change is to ensure Peregrine Greaves users are visibly airborne to other players in order to benefit from the exotic effect. In PvE, these will provide significantly more damage bonus and refund your melee charge when used against champs, tormentors, and mini bosses. Again, I think pretty fair trade off there.
Yeah.
And then Syntheseps. I had to talk to A1 Johnny about this one earlier. Syntheseps, we're removing the extra lunge range, but to compensate, we are adding improved weapon handling and reload speed when you're surrounded. We're also walking back some of the nerf to glaive melee damage as well.
Yeah.
So Syntheseps, going to be a lot of fun to use, I think. I think they're going to be fun at least.
Yeah. I have a
Um,
pair of Masterwork, but I don't really use them all that much. Usually because I'm relegated to Bubble Titan, but that's fine.
that's fair. That's fair. Checkmate is entering the Crucible Labs playlist on Tuesday. It is not a game mode, but is a modifier to game modes. During its 6 weeks in the lab, you'll have a chance to play all the Checkmate variations. Each variant will run for 2 weeks, starting with Checkmate Control, then Survival, and closing out with Rumble. With this modifier, players have a small bump in health, which adjusts the time to kill. This is largely to give players a little more time when dueling to make an extra decision or two. Because of this, Checkmate has been tuned for more strategic gameplay, and wherever necessary, certain weapons have been adjusted to maintain their iconic Destiny 2 action game feel. To further increase the importance of your decision making, we've reduced the passive regeneration times for grenades, melee, and class abilities by 50% and reduced the passive regeneration rate for supers by 40%. The biggest change in Checkmate, however, is you do not spawn with heavy ammo. You earn it by generating points from kills, assists, deaths, zone captures, and gathering heavy ammo. You will not lose points accumulated on death, and the special ammo you earn persists throughout lives and rounds. Additionally, you do not drop special ammo on death. The goal with Checkmate is to provide a game mode that encourages and rewards solid decision making and gunplay skills while still being the Destiny 2 you know today. Our internal playtests have been very positive, and we're excited for players to finally get a chance to play it. I am very, very excited to play this mode. Checkmate is something I've asked for a very long time. Not really SWAT necessarily, but a mode where abilities aren't as emphasized.
Yeah.
I really thought we were going to get that with momentum control, and momentum spirals very quickly
Yeah.
to the point where it's just like not fun at times.
Yeah.
This feels much more in line with what I wanted. But momentum is SWAT, but it's SWAT with abilities, which is just not fun. I
Yeah.
would love to
This
see Checkmate momentum control.
yeah, this I'm excited to play Checkmate because SWAT is like one of my favorite modes in Halo.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
to see it come to Destiny with like, obviously more than like a battle rifle and a pistol or something, right? Like this is gonna be interesting.
yeah. It's I feel like this is going to be scout rifle, the scout rifle and pulse rifle kind of the mode, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah, me too.
Uh,
Especially because those are my favorite weapons. So
yeah, I want to see what's gonna happen here. So
yeah.
curious, very curious. Win-win situation. We just referenced this, but Trials of Osiris. Starting tomorrow, every match you win has a high chance of dropping one of the weapons currently available in the loot pool. These will be the regular non-adept version of these weapons, which include Igneous Hammer, Astral Horizon, the Cataphract GL3, the Messenger, Unexpected Resurgence, and the Immortal. And then this week, of course, Igneous Hammer is the Adept reward if you reach the Lighthouse. And it's got some perks such as Incandescent, Keep Away, and Fragile Focus. So, little curious, and it sounds like it's going to be on Jav 4 because, as scary as someone throwing 4 javelins in your face, some would say, Jav 4 is like the best map that I think they've made in Destiny 2. I love that map.
Yeah, it's cool.
There's a bunch of tessellation videos here. You guys can check those out if you want to. I personally haven't watched it yet. There is an update on the 48-hour challenge mode emblem for Crota. If you did not get it, that was pretty significantly bugged. They're basically having to build a solution for it. They already have verified who all did it, but it's still going to take a few more weeks. So if that pertains to you, it's there. And that's going to about do it for the TWAB.
You see that Savathun cosplay at the bottom?
I did see the Savathun cosplay at the bottom.
That's pretty sick.
It's wild. I saw one that I liked a bit better last year. The mask like lit up and like there was like a voice changer and everything in it.
Yeah, I saw
That
that
was
one too.
absolutely wild.
Yeah, it was cool.
I do have I have a topic I want to bring up that I want to bring to the table. So we are no strangers to criticizing the Eververse here at Tower Casuals. And this week, something that's been seen as a little controversial happened. Cosmetics from Season of the Worthless were brought back.
I saw that and I got really excited, but they're not the ones that I wanted.
I mean, they brought back the armor. They brought back all the exotic rewards, basically. I don't know what else you're missing from that season. You want stuff from Dawn. You want the Saint 14 armor.
Yeah, am I mixing those up? Maybe
Yes. Worthy was Seraph Towers. It was the season that came out after Dawn.
Right. Ew, yeah.
The pricing on this has been completely egregious, to say the least. People are freaking out that to buy absolutely everything, so to buy all 3 sets of armor, to buy the emotes, the finisher, the ships, etc., it is going to run you about 9,800 silver to get all of this. And they're freaking out. Well, some of the same people freaking out are the ones who, first off, were begging for this stuff to be put back in for purchase, but also like to toot the horn that the season pass is not worth it. I said in the Discord I was going to have a pretty controversial take on this, and my takes are as follows. 1, you don't have to have absolutely everything. You are not entitled to have absolutely everything. You do not need absolutely everything. Eververse pricing is a whole nother conversation, because I do think the pricing is absurd, but this is stuff that you had the ability to earn in a $10 season pass. I don't feel particularly bad. Like, if you weren't playing at the time, boo-hoo.
Yeah.
I don't really know what to tell you. Boo-hoo. Again, you don't need absolutely everything that's ever come out in the history of the game. I do think that this would have gone over a lot better if they would have given some Bright Dust options on these. But I also do think that since this was stuff that you could earn in the past, it should probably be cheaper in the Eververse.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say like by half or anything. I mean, that's what I think.
No, but like, so the armor is 1,500, maybe 1,000, right?
Maybe 1,000. Yeah, I think if you reduce, I mean, I guess if you reduce the cost by like half to reflect it, but I personally think that should be the cost of everything in Eververse to begin with. If you reduced it by like everything by a couple hundred silver, you know.
Yeah.
My take is more of, I don't know that I'm necessarily upset about the pricing. I think the pricing it's rough, but, and I'm speaking from a point of somebody who has finished every season pass that they've had.
Yeah.
Some seasons have been rougher than others. I don't agree with the calls of, well, I had the season pass and I just didn't finish it, I should get a discount. Like, no, you had the chance to play it. You actually had to play it and you chose not to. That's on you.
Yeah.
That is 100% on you.
Yeah.
If you chose to dip then and you're coming back now and saying, well, I paid for it, boo-hoo, boo-hoo, no other game other than Halo Infinite does that. I do think that when the season pass, and I on the value of the season pass, because again, some of the same people I've seen screaming about this also wanted this stuff to come back, and also say the season pass isn't worth it to begin with. You get effectively $100 worth of cosmetics in those season passes
Yeah.
because you get the armor ornaments for all three, you get the basic armor for all three, you get a finisher every single season. You get an exotic ornament, you get an exotic emote, you usually get a ship or a ghost, sometimes both. There's a sparrow that's usually thrown in there. There's a couple special shaders. Like the value as far as cosmetics is there, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You're
No, I
getting that.
agree.
You're getting 10,000. You're getting about 10,000 bright dust in the past, which we've debated and probably should be increased a little bit. I don't think that we need to go to giving silver away in it
Hmm.
because this isn't Fortnite.
Yeah.
You are also getting on top of that, you are getting story content. You are getting access to the story content. You're getting access to those modes. You're getting access to the storylines. You're getting access to the weapon suite for the season. Like you are getting a lot for your money. You are getting a
Yes.
very big bang for your buck. That being said, I really, really, really wish and I don't want to be one of those people like, oh, Bungie would print money here, but I do think they would gain a lot of goodwill and they would probably see an uptick in people buying them if you could finish your season pass whenever.
Yeah.
And with us eliminating so many of these currencies that we don't need, I do think there's an opportunity there that maybe post final shape we could start getting those back. And I mean, the only way that any of this is going to happen is if people are very vocal about this.
Yeah.
But you can be vocal in a respectful way too, and not vocal as in, "Oh, you motherfucker, I'm going to kill you for charging me all this money." Um, because I do think that there's a right way and a wrong way to do this, and I do think this is the wrong way. But at the same time, y'all asked for this.
Yeah.
Y'all literally asked for this. This is the monkey's paw curling. You knew what was going to happen before it even happened. So I guess my controversial take is like I get the complaints, but y'all asked for this. Y'all asked for this. If you were playing and you just chose not to play during that season because you weren't interested or whatever, that's on you. That's not on Bungie to accommodate you because you were bored.
Yeah.
Why should they have to cater to you? Also, it's been like 3 years. Like you had the opportunity 3 years ago to go earn the stuff in the season pass. You chose not to, and that's on you. I don't really feel too bad. I've never really felt bad because I mean this is at least an update on their stance from when they introduced season passes of you're never going to be able to earn this stuff ever again.
Right.
So be happy that that's also not part of their stance anymore. But I think like to make this a little bit easier, you could have put some of the stuff up for Bright Dust. You could reduce the cost and should reduce the cost of this stuff. I think that anytime we talk about reduction in price, though, that sparks like kind of a boulder rolling down the hill conversation. That's a very steep slope because then it turns into, well, why isn't everything priced like this? Like
Yeah.
nothing will ever be good enough at that point. Um, I don't know. Like again, this could be like Fortnite where that stuff's purely cosmetic and never comes back, which is absurd.
Yeah.
And I get like licensing and things like that for some of these third party characters they use, but the point remains, I still think it's silly.
Yeah.
So I don't know, Corey, you got any thoughts on this? Because I know my take is fairly different. My response is essentially like boohoo,
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of my
kind of
thing
get
too,
over
right?
it.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of my thing too, right? Is like you, you had your chance if especially if you bought the season, right? You had your chance to get it. This is I mean, the armor is selling at a normal armor price, right? Maybe it should be cheaper, that's arguable, I guess, but not that much cheaper. I mean, I think it's fine. I don't like you said, you don't need everything in the game, right? And
Yeah.
if you didn't want it when you didn't play it, why do you want it now type thing, right? Unless you just were like way off of Destiny and then you came back and like then really got into it, I guess. But
Yeah, and I think that some of the concerns for that are to be fair, I saw one person raise this that they don't particularly care about the stuff now, but if, for example, they didn't play last summer, if the Reaper armor were to come back, they're like, I don't want to have to pay for that on all three characters.
yeah,
And that's one of the best looking sets in the game. I can understand that. I can understand that take. I guess I also have to remember that I play one class. I
Yeah.
claim stuff for all three, but I really only play one class, so I don't have the struggle of, oh, well, I need to buy this for multiple classes. I actually have a fair amount of friends who, if they were to bring back the Saint 14 set, that they'd be like, hey, I need to get this because I didn't finish my pass that season.
I mean, that's me,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I didn't finish the pass that season. I was kind of, I think I was kind of bored that season, you know. So I don't know. I guess if you want it, you buy it. If you think it's too expensive, then don't buy it. I don't know. I don't know what the correct
Yeah, the
answer
only
is, but
way it's
my
going to get cheaper is if you vote with your wallet. Like, it's the dumb answer, it's the cliche
yeah
answer, but seriously.
yeah yeah. So I mean, I think it is what it is. I don't really have a problem with what's going on, and I think a majority of Destiny players, aside from the hardcore, play more than one class, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't see a casual player playing three classes casually, right? I don't know, man. I have a hard time playing one and a half, right? Like, um, so I don't know, man. I think it's okay, but that's me, I guess.
Yeah. So, oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, howdy.
Hey, howdy, hey. I'm a yo-yo.
We have a fair amount of questions to answer tonight, Corey. Let's shift over to questions.
Questions?
Questions. Ziltax writes in and goes, in the final shape reveal, it appears that Ghost went through some things. Do you guys have any speculations as to what? And the image he gave us is it's Ghost pretty banged up.
Mm-hmm.
His general shell kind of cracked in a few places. Um I'm not sure. I think that's just kind of like, for me, that's representative of the journey that he's gone on with us, like the amount of shit that he's gone through,
Yeah,
the amount of shit that we've gone through together.
yeah, I agree.
Um, I'm not ruling out something happening to Ghost
Mm-hmm.
in the
Yeah, I mean,
final shape.
my theory was that he might sacrifice himself to save us, so we can finish the mission at some point. Um, and
I could see that, and like maybe he's like reborn in that final mission that we're supposed to have.
yeah,
Because I can't see Ghost being gone forever. But I
yeah,
do think that something drastic will happen. Maybe the story of the episodes that we get afterwards is our quest to find Ghost again.
mm-hmm.
Spaceballs 2, the search for more money feels.
Hmm.
Um, I just think also like it's a CG teaser. Like those are
Yeah. This
always
is a
meant to be
tone
like
piece.
it's a tone setter.
Yeah,
It's a tone setter ultimately. Speaking of trailers, did you see the Destination trailer they released for the Pale Heart today?
yeah,
Oh, it's great. I
it's
can't
so
wait.
good.
I can't wait. It's going to be a long wait until the end of February. Link Chef writes in, do you ever think in the future there will be a subclass that combines the power of dark and light together, fully perfecting the bomb logic? I don't know what that means, but I'm going to go no. I think there's no reason. Like, if anything, that would be something that we get for a mission or a raid, being able to harness both light and dark.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't see that being a permanent thing.
yeah, I
Like,
don't know. I mean, it would be like when you pick up a subclass, right, and they let you test it out.
yeah,
Maybe it would be one of those situations, but I can't see.
I don't know in what reality that would even work, given what we
Yeah,
know about the light and the dark in Destiny. I don't see how you would fundamentally use. I mean, the closest I think you would be able to get is probably using the Traveler beam that we know is coming as a gun and like run a stasis subclass at the same
yeah,
time. Like, because I don't
yeah,
like Strand isn't even darkness as far as I'm concerned. Like it's the weave between everything is the explanation,
yeah,
the hippie ass explanation that we got, but like I don't really see what, wielding ice powers has to do with oh yeah, I'm gonna wield ice and fire at the same time. I'm a regular Game of Thrones fan over here.
yeah,
um I don't know, I personally just don't see it happening. Maybe if we were like using taken powers or something, that would be a little different because that's like true darkness energy, I think.
yeah.
um
Or like the maybe like the green poison that comes from certain weapons, right?
Yeah,
That
like
people
our
thought the green
silly
was going to
little
be.
explanation that we've gotten about what light and dark actually means in this universe. I'm like, yeah, I'm
Hmm.
gonna edge towards no on this one personally.
Yeah,
Maybe eventually down the line. It kind of depends on what they decide to do here with the final shape. But as of right now, I'm gonna say in our pre-final shape world, don't count on it.
Yeah.
If they're not even willing to do a sixth subclass right now, I just don't see something like this happening.
Yeah.
Maybe like deep into the next saga, but the next saga is not even supposed to be about light and dark. So
Hmm.
if you're not going to do it now, when are you going to do it?
Yeah. I wonder what, I mean, we'll know eventually, I guess. So it's not even worth asking the question now. So
So our next question comes from Sam, Lord of Bananas.
yeah,
You think a
Lord of
D and
Bananas.
D like Destiny RPG would be good? Well, Sam, I am so thrilled to get you to introduce you to this. Dungeons and Destiny is an actual thing. It is an actual thing. It is a reimagining of Dungeons and Dragons 5e that is set to the Destiny setting. Um, it was based off of it was originally based off of Star Wars Edge of Empire, but this is really really fucking cool. Um, I know that our friend A1 Johnny has played around with it, which is really cool. Yeah, D and Destiny, as they call it. It's very cool. I would like to play around with it at some point, but they have a whole Patreon and everything. Um, you also asked us what would the classes be, special dices, how many aspects from the original game should be put in there. They have transcribed all of the classes into the game so far. I don't know if they've updated it for Strand, but I believe everything through Stasis is in there.
Hmm.
The weapons you know and love, especially the exotics, are in there. It has translated fairly well from what I understand.
Yeah.
So that is there. Now, if you're asking for if there would be like a specific like video game based off that, I know we're all consumed with CRPGs right now with the wild cultural revolution that is Baldur's Gate 3. Words I never thought I would say together as someone who grew up with Dark Alliance 2. Never thought I'd be saying these words, but D&D is more popular than ever before. Um, man, I don't know if you'd ever get a Destiny video game like that. I think that would be very difficult. Like a Destiny tactics style thing would be very difficult to do. I think just because of the nature of gear and supers and things like that. Um, but I'd be open to like maybe if you like came up with like a mobile version of it, maybe that would work. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not actually sure, but yeah, check that out. If that see if that that it tickles your pickle. I don't know.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Who's tickling pickles?
tickle those pickles. Um,
Ronnie's tickling pickles.
I don't know why I just said that. I definitely don't know what I meant to say there, but it's not tickle your pickle.
Oh God.
Jiggly Panda comes in with two different questions. First, what is one thing you didn't like in Crota that you would change? Um, in regards to Crota stuff, there is a whole Crota pod that I'd encourage you guys to go listen to. It posted on Monday. Um, you guys can find that. Joe and I talked about some things that we didn't like on it. Overall, we're really positive that we ranked it as the reprised Crota's End is the fourth best raid in Destiny as far as we're concerned. So there's not a lot of negatives that we have there, but we do have a few things that we addressed in it.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's I mean,
yeah,
it just sounds like Crota, just the overhaul they gave the raid is just top tier.
it's
So
outstanding. Second, what is one person from both the Destiny team and the Destiny content creator you would want to interview? Um,
hmm,
I mean, from the Destiny team, I personally have always wanted to sit down and I wanted to pick Luke Smith's mind personally.
yeah,
Um, and I know that he's not like he is still a part of the Destiny team, but he's also not. He's not part of the day to day team anymore. He's like a franchise director. I've always
yeah,
wanted to sit down and I wanted to talk to him about like his journey through creation, like from being a writer at EGM to coming and doing the weekly podcast with Bungie and being a community manager to designing the raids to then becoming the game director and eventually franchise director. I've always wanted to like kind of pick his mind on like how that almost 20-year journey has evolved.
yeah,
But also like I would want to like get a little personal with it. Like what was it like experiencing the highs of the Taken King versus the lows of like D2 Vanilla and Curse of Osiris? Like what is like the dichotomy between those two?
yeah. And
Uh,
like even I mean, I know at this point he was probably moving on, but like when they were released from Activision, from the Activision deal, how their mindsets changed. Maybe that would be an interesting
Yeah, how did
discussion.
the franchise mindset change there? There's several things I'd really like to ask him. On a more practical note, I'd love to talk to Kevin Yanes one day about. I know he's not part of the Destiny team anymore. Just like kind of talk about the philosophy behind designing some of these sandbox changes and some of these weapons.
Yeah,
Sit down with some of the chief weapon designers that we've had over the years, and like how on earth do you even come up with an idea for something like Outbreak Prime?
yeah,
How do you come up with that? Because like as we got further into Destiny 1, we got kind of wackier guns, and then Destiny 2 they just kind of like blew the lid off. And it even took
yeah,
us a couple years to get there, but like you go into Forsaken and you have something like Malfeasance that shoots Taken essence essentially. Like
yeah,
how do you come up with that, and then like 6 months later you come out with Lumina, you know, which is like pretty much the exact opposite of it. Like how do you come up with things like that? How did the idea for Jotun come around?
yeah,
Like, I want to know who is fully responsible for Jotun. Who came up with the idea for Divinity? Like, there are so many weapons that I'd like to just figure out who is responsible for this shit, so I know where to appropriately place the blame in the future. Um, as far as a content creator, I mean, there's a number of them that I'd love to sit down with one day. I'm not big on content creators interviewing other content creators personally.
yeah,
Um, I don't know. I would like to sit down with like a PvP minded player, I think, more than anything, and like just kind of pick their brain on it as a part of the game that I'm not like as knowledgeable in as I'd like to be. I'd also someday I'd love to sit down with like I don't think there are creators. I think there's like one or two out there, but like sit down with a Gambit main, like that's predominantly what they play in Destiny, and just ask why. Like just I want to know like who hurts you, who
yeah,
hurts you to where that's the main thing you play in Destiny. But I think the generic answer would be like I'd love to sit down and talk to Fallout one of these days. Um, I'd like to sit down to I don't know, kind of pick his brain a little bit on sandboxes and on weapon changes, and maybe talk with people like True Vanguard about the state of PvP. Um, Datto is of course the top bucket list. Like I would love to talk to Datto, just like about rating. I'd love to talk
yeah,
to him about like endgame PVE and like I guess like what could be done, what needs to be done in terms of challenges. I mean, he's made dozens of videos on the subject at this point. I think that's the other challenge of like, well, who's a content creator we'd like to talk to? Well, they've already talked about everything we'd ever discuss on
yeah,
their own channels and on their streams and on other pods and things like that. Like,
yeah,
I I don't know. I'm just like I'm averse to talking to other creators. I'd rather talk to the people who make the game personally.
yeah,
Like it's one thing for us to like bring our friends in here and like bring our buddies in, bring some members of the Discord in. It's another thing entirely for me to go, oh yeah, I want to go like interview a content creator. Like, well, I've got opinions too, bud. Like
yeah.
they're probably not as good or as well thought out, but I got opinions too, you know.
I mean, for me, like, I think I don't know. I would like to talk to Joe Blackburn, just to like,
Yeah.
because he probably had thinking about everything. He probably has one of the hardest jobs, if not the hardest job at that studio.
Hmm.
Trying to make sure it all comes together and doing his thing. But in terms of content creator, I would go a different route, really, and ask and I'd want to talk to Gathalion. I think first of all, just and not really about I mean, we would talk about Destiny, but how he successfully diversified his content early, because that was
Yeah.
like, you know, he diversified early, I mean, and how he like why he decided to do that and how he picked the right time to do it and stuff like that.
Yeah, he was one of the early ones because I mean, he's acknowledged that he made his streaming career off of Destiny,
Hmm.
but he
Yeah.
diversified almost immediately.
Yeah.
It was between Destiny 1 and 2 when he really diversified, and he was kind of done streaming Destiny as like his main game by the time Forsaken came out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Even now he's like, yeah, for the seasons, I just wait and then I'll stream the whole story stuff in one day and I'll raid a couple times and then I'm done. Right? That's like his whole thing
which I
with
think
his
is
game now.
fine.
Hmm.
When you get to that point and you're somebody who has gotten to like you've lived the highest highs you possibly can like he has in this game,
Hmm.
Like, what else is there really left? Like, you're hanging around for the story at that point, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Which I think is fair. I think a lot of us who have been here since day one are kind of in that weird phase. Like, regardless if we streamed it or not, like we still invested thousands of hours.
Yeah.
Um, and I think a lot of us are just like, we get to the final shape, and it's going to be like this big sigh of relief, and like, yeah, I'll tune into like episodes and stuff, but my days of like grinding the game as hard as I do are probably coming to an end.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, my days of grinding kind of came to an end when, especially when my son was born, right? Like, daughter, sure, I could get away with it, but, two kids, like, that's, I mean, there are times where I wish I was more invested in the game than I am.
mhm.
But it's just, I can't be because of life stuff. Uh, but yeah.
All right. Our next question, like Discord
Next
taking over.
question.
Next question. Titan Class writes in and goes a bit off topic, but have you guys been following the Unity situation these
Oh
past
my
few
god,
days?
yeah.
All right. So, oh god, I have a crink in my neck and it's really bothering me. It's like right there where your neck and your shoulder intersect.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been bothering me for a few days, and it's just like it's really hurting tonight. Like anytime that I move. So the Unity situation, I'm gonna try and make this like as easy to understand as possible. Which is going to be a challenge. This is probably something it's not probably, it is something we're going to have to talk about on the next Xbox Casuals,
Yeah.
because this is industry shaking. But the long and the short of it is, uh, Unity is a game engine that a lot of companies use, from big games such as the Pokemon series, and specifically Pokemon Go and Genshin Impact, all the way down to beloved indies like Hollow Knight and Cult of the Lamb.
Yeah. Did you see them say they're, you better buy it now because we're deleting it on January 1st?
I did. The long and the short of it is Unity is upping their prices. And on top of that, they are charging an install fee now. Anytime the game is installed, the developers are going to get charged for it.
Yeah.
And it does not matter if it's a reinstall or what. And like they
No, they
backpedal.
came out they came
I
out and backpedaled.
I'm getting to it.
Okay.
Um, they put a bunch of these they said a bunch of these changes are going to take effect on January the 1st. You're going to be charged for that. We're not making any special exceptions for charity bundles or Game Pass or anything like that. Like, and the immediate impact was just felt across the industry. There are developers who have flat out come out and said, we are delaying our game by like a year or two to yank it all off Unity and build it in a new engine.
Yeah.
Whether it's UE or it's a proprietary engine or whatever, we are going back and we're doing all that. Like, you are effectively killing the company. The CEO who is in charge here is the same one who ran EA into the ground in the late 2000s, by the way.
Yeah.
Who damn near killed BioWare multiple times, who introduced microtransactions to FIFA, and who once proposed charging players $1 to reload their weapons in Battlefield. That is
Jeez.
a real thing. That is to get faster reloads. There's a real thing that happened. So this should come as no surprise that he's the one running Unity into the ground. Unity did come out last night and started backpedaling on a lot of this, saying like, well, no charity bundles are going to be exempt, and we're only going to charge for the initial installation, and Game Pass won't be affected. And it's like, yeah, because you're going to try and pass the bill off to Microsoft, which good luck on that one.
Right.
Microsoft and Sony are going to laugh you out of the room, but more importantly, companies like Steam and Microsoft and Sony and Nintendo can just sit here and go, we're not going to host anything that's made on Unity anymore.
Yeah.
The number of studios that are going to be bankrupted over this is not insignificant.
No.
I have heard some try to defend this as like, well, they probably are just looking at the big picture and seeing like how much money they're going to make off things like Genshin, and companies like Genshin and like Nintendo can absorb it, and like that's not the point if you can absorb it.
Yeah.
The point is, this is a bonehead, dumbass move that is going to effectively kill you. I mean, even if they were to reverse all these, there have been so many indie studios that have come out and said, even if you were to reverse this, we're never using Unity again.
Yeah.
We're never doing it again. Like, I know In Exile, a lot of their earlier games were made in Unity, and they're basically like, LOL, we're not paying this.
Yeah.
And they have the backing of Microsoft. There's already class action lawsuits being filed. It is a fascinating case. I really recommend reading
Th-
coverage of the situation on Axios and The Verge. They've had probably the best write ups so far.
mhm. Um, we were kind of talking about this at work too, and they removed their terms of service off of GitHub,
Yep. And I mean,
which is
Unity is used for beyond just gaming too.
yeah,
Unity is used in like web development.
yeah,
So good luck. You could have, and people were pointing out, you could effectively bankrupt a company by installing, uninstalling, installing, uninstalling, like getting just
hmm
thousands of people to do that. You could effectively bankrupt a company overnight.
and I don't know if you guys know what review bombing is, but this would be another way to totally kill a
Oh
company.
God, yeah, yeah. Pay for it the one time and then just spam it.
Yeah.
And there's no prediction. And then they said that they aren't going to release the numbers on it because it's algorithmic and like it's their estimate on how much they need to charge. They don't even have a scientific way to prove how much you need to be charged.
Yeah.
That is just bonkers shit. I can't believe that anybody thought this was going to go over well. I feel really bad for their PR and comms and customer
Oh
service
God.
teams
Yeah.
because they had to actually shut down the offices today because a death threat, a credible death threat, was issued against top executives in the company.
Yeah.
So, which
Yeah.
should not be surprising to anyone who has followed the gaming industry for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
That's not surprising even in the least.
Yeah. And this like I don't know if this guy's been sleeping under a rock, but like Unity has already been trying to compete with something like Unreal, right?
Yeah,
Because and Unreal made all those changes to benefit developers, right? Like, and this is like the complete opposite way. Like, what are you
this is the
doing,
best
man?
marketing that Unreal Engine 5 has ever gotten.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's like, what are you doing, man? It's ridiculous.
It's not great. It's not great.
Yeah.
Um, Hail Hydra writes in. Feels weird to be losing legendary shards. Almost as weird as when we lost strange coins. Would you welcome a strange coin type currency coming back? They are coming back. Joe has all but confirmed it.
hmm
Also, spooky season is coming. Favorite scary movie? Corey, do you like scary movies?
No, no.
Corey doesn't
The,
like scary movies. I feel
the
like we had
last
this. I feel like we get this question every year.
look, the last two scary movies I watched were the first Saw movie
Ew.
and the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake with
Oof.
Jessica Biel in it.
Oof.
So,
I'm not particularly a huge scary movie fan either. Personally, I do like the occasional ones. I'm partial to the Halloween movies.
mm,
I really like Halloween 1 and 2, and I like the modern ones. Aren't horrible. They're not great, but they're not horrible.
yeah,
The last two Scream movies have been okay. Just like throwing them on for like background noise has been kind of okay.
yeah,
I'm not a horror guy though. You're not gonna catch me dead watching an Ari Aster film. Um,
nope,
Not watching the next Exorcist. I
mm-mm,
don't like any of that stuff. That's just not interesting to me. Like I guess like sci-fi horror might be like the way to go. Like I love the Alien movies,
mm-hmm,
but that's about it. I'm not a huge horror fan. Never have been, never will be.
yeah.
Favorite haunted house. Oh God, you couldn't pay me to go to a haunted house.
The Haunted Mansion.
The Haunted Mansion is the closest I fucking get. You could not pay me to go to a haunted house. I will start swinging. I don't like people. I don't like people getting up in my face or like touching me.
Yeah,
I have never liked people in masks. I have like actually a like really severe phobia of people that like I know are like under like a like humanoid type mask and it like I can't see them. Like something like fucking Mickey Mouse is different, but for you to be in like Halloween costumes always creeped me out as a kid, especially
yeah,
because like that's when Ghostface was popular, right? And like
yeah,
that mask always freaked me out as a kid,
mm-hmm,
and like still kind of does.
yeah,
I have like actually really big problems like when it comes to Halloween time. Not that I don't
mm,
like Halloween as a holiday. I don't like masks and costumes and stuff. It freaks me out. I see the videos of like Halloween horror nights and it just bugs the crap out of me.
yeah,
You could not pay me to go to any of this shit.
right,
There is not enough money in the world to get me to go to one of these things.
yeah,
People have been trying to get me to a haunted house for 15 years. It's never going to happen.
mm-mm,
Ever. Ever, ever,
no,
ever, 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 ever. It's never going to
mm-mm,
happen.
nope.
Ever. Ever. Tiger Jesus writes in with our final question of the night. If you guys got to stream Destiny with Joe Blackburn, what activities are y'all doing? Joe's going to carry me to the lighthouse, baby.
Yeah.
Joe's taking me to the lighthouse. I want people just to quit out because they see that Joe Garoth is in there.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
We're doing
Yep.
trials. We're
Hope
doing
his
trials.
backpack is big
Yeah,
because he's carrying.
Joe's carrying me. Corey and I are playing separately just to make sure that we get there. We're bringing another PvP sweat with us.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. I just want to
Oh,
go to the lighthouse once, man.
oh boy.
In like
Yeah.
8 years.
One time in 8 years. Yeah, I am. Whoo! It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be
Yeah.
rough. I am not jazzed about this. So, well, Corey, what do you
Well,
say
Josh,
what do you say we take a quick detour for a short lore corner tonight before we get out of here?
short corner.
Short corner. This is the malediction.
Ooh.
I understand that getting through the portal is important, Crow began. It's more than important, Osiris interrupted. It's our best chance to prevent the final shape, however the witness conceives of it. Beyond that, it's a chance to study paracausality at a level we've never had access to before. I get it, Crow interjected. The hunter was overseeing the unloading of Spider's ship in the Elixni Quarter. House light workers ferried crates into warehouses on ingenious Elixni-made trolleys. Normally such a task would be outside of Crow's purview, but Spider couldn't be trusted to stick to his manifest, so here he was. Osiris stood back and watched the bustle with detachment. I've heard all the reasons, Crow continued. They all make sense. It's just... He paused, trying to find a delicate way of broaching the subject. Savathun, Osiris provided, his voice tinged with foreboding. Yeah, Crow replied. He shook his head in dismay. We worked so hard to put her away, and after everything we went through, what you went through, we're just gonna bring her back? Under his mask, Osiris's lips pressed into a thin, tense line. In truth, the situation pained him greatly, but he would not allow his gnawing doubt to infect the young hunter. When he spoke, his voice came out as smooth and measured as always. Guardians sacrifice more than their lives in defense of humanity, more than their friends or their ghosts. We've sacrificed our peace of mind. In many ways, it's our greatest loss, Osiris said, imagining Saint's concern. But it's the price we pay for the knowledge we bear, for the power we wield. I know, Crow sighed, recalling Amanda's empty spot in the hangar. I know. Nothing too big brain today. Confirmation that Spider's still hanging out in the Elixni Quarter. I suspect that he has a weapon or two for us going into the final shape. Maybe a set of armor. I could see him being the one to outfit us a little bit. I'd actually kind of love it if he was in there as a vendor. I think that would be really funny.
I think it would be cool if you got like a Lixney looking armor
It would be
from
really
him.
cool. I feel like that's got to be coming.
Yeah.
Even though we've had a few sets like that though, we've had some Elixni bone sets and whatnot in the past.
Yeah, but also I don't know, man. I mean I want something that looks like Mithrax's armor, right?
Oh
Not
well,
like
I don't know if we're gonna get that, but yeah, that would be cool. Give me the fucking gauntlet on my arm.
yeah.
That'd be so cool. I think the other thing is that Crow is continuing his alliance with House Light. Something that him, Osiris, and Saint have all kind of gotten swept up into. They've
Uh-huh.
largely left it to the three of them at this point. Um, Crow really hasn't had anything to do in the story as of late, which is a good thing.
Mhm.
I think we were all complaining when we were going into Haunted last year of, oh my god, another season with Crow. Oh my god.
Mhm.
Now, as we approach the final shape, I'm like, man, it's been a hot minute since we had Crow.
Yeah.
Because we had him in Hunt, Chosen. He was in the background in Splicer. We had him in Lost. He's a huge part of Risen and of Chosen. And then we just kind of like ceased having him. We just had him as like a lore character. That's probably good. We had so much emphasis on him. I'm still sticking to my, and this really helps to solidify my thinking that I think that Osiris and Saint are going to leave. If our Guardian leaves after this saga, that they're going with him.
Yeah.
And that I think Crow probably stays behind as the new speaker. It's one of those things that just makes sense.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean you can see the shadow that Savathun still holds over the city. It's been a year and a half, and like her specter still looms so large. Like everybody's kind of divided on if we should be attempting to bring her back or not. like this is a mistake. Why are we doing this? Why are we gonna resurrect her? Why are we going along with her rituals and everything else?
Right.
So there's a number of things here that I think are a little frustrating from a storytelling perspective. We are running out of time to tell these stories, right? We've got 3 weeks of story left in this season. Yeah, this week was really cool. We saw Sloane and Asa brought back into the storyline. The implication is there that Eris may like take Asha's power like by force,
Hmm.
to grow fat with strength, as one deposed Callus would say. Um, but I think that just adds a new layer to this. Like everybody has their own reasons for not wanting Savathun back. Like we think so much about what she did to Osiris that we forget what she put Crow through. Also,
Yeah.
we forget what Crow went through, what Mara went through. Because of Savathun, and it kind of tells me that Crow's part in this story isn't over. And I got to think that something happens this season to bring him back into the fold as we approach the final shape. Like next season probably has to be all the allies coming together.
It's got to be right. I
It, it's
mean,
got it's got to be kind of the inverse of what it was when we approached Beyond Light, where we did the Exodus missions. This, I think, has got to be us bringing everyone back together, like pulling everyone
yeah.
in. We're calling up everyone on the bench as being called up. We may even give Shax a new voice line. Who knows?
Ooh.
We may get a little crazy here.
Yeah.
But it really does feel like this is go time. Like we've determined the fate of Sloane and Asher. What became of them. Is Vance still out there? Maybe. We get the implication that we're not quite sure if he was still alive the last time we saw him.
Yeah.
And then, well, Devram's been brought back into the story, obviously.
Yeah.
So are we're calling everybody up off the board? Are we gonna? Is Varix gonna finally leave that fucking closet on Europa? you know, or
Yeah.
not. I would assume that he's not going to, because he pretty staunchly refuses to recognize Mithrax as the leader.
Yeah.
Like even Spider is willing to bow down essentially, but it feels like Varix is still very much no. Like we forget, Varix followed Aramis until Aramis started fucking around with the darkness.
Yeah.
Like Varix very much believed that he was supposed to be the Kell of Kells, which is funny to think about, but
It's hilarious.
you got to think that next season is going to be kind of wrapping up several different plot lines. We've still got Aramis kicking around out there, and I got to think Aramis is going to be resolved before the final shape. Got to think that's happening.
Yeah.
Got to think that we've got something else to do with Marasov at some point. Petra hasn't been seen in a hot minute. Where's Petra at? I think we got to resolve some things there. There's the curse of the Dreaming City. Is that ever going to get broken? Like if it doesn't break with Zivo Wrath being defeated this season, is it ever going to break?
Right.
There's the question of bringing everybody together, obviously, and then kind of what's going to be the fate of our vanguard. What's going to be the fate of our allies in the city. What's Drifter's ultimate role? I think Drifter is kind of like not the trump card, but he's kind of the wild card here for us, right?
Hmm.
Like he said, Gambit was to prepare us for the darkness, and let me tell you, Gambit's kind of falling on some hard times here.
Yeah.
So is he going to unleash like a Taken army? How cool would it be if you had a mission in the final shape where he just deploys the Taken army to fight with you? And like
That'd
you're
be cool.
fighting like a ton of tormentors, and like the Taken ogres are just charging them.
Yeah.
God, the things we could do if we weren't held back by 2011 technology.
Yes.
Shout out to our Discord member, Cade's Ace in the Hole. Cade was messaging me yesterday, being like, "Hey, I've heard you guys say how bad the Xbox Series S is," and I was like, "No, no, no, we like the Series S. We don't like the One S."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad I messaged you because I almost bought the One S.
Oh
I
God.
I had one for I could get one for like $100. I was like, no, you want the Series S, and may message you today saying, hey, I was able to get one for a little under $200. So yeah,
Nice.
uh,
Nice.
the Series S is a great little device to be able to play this, especially if you're just going to hook it up in the office solely to play something like Destiny. It's great.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, it's the yeah, Destiny runs great on it, but it's like the Game Pass Fortnite Minecraft box for kids too, right? I mean, all those
oh
everything
yeah,
runs pretty decent, especially first party games or teams that kind of put more effort into optimizing.
Yeah, big fan. I like it. So yeah, I played a decent amount of I said this on Xbox Casual, so I played a decent amount of Starfield on it. And it
Mm-hmm.
ran really well. So
Yeah, I played Starfield on Series S too. So
well, Corey, why don't you get us on out of here?
yeah,
It's been a long day. It's been a long night.
it's been a long week, man.
It's been a long week. I am looking forward to the weekend personally.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice. But anyways, I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening to this episode of Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, leave a rating on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or whatever you listen to us on. Josh, thank you for your time tonight as always. Where can we find you?
Of course. Twitter at Josh_Finn. I'm hanging out in the Discord a lot too. Come be part of the Discord. Come be part of the show.
Be part of it. Be in there. Get in there. 19 inches of venom.
19 inches of venom. I think it's 19 inches of Sephiroth after seeing that Rebirth Collector's Edition today.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of inches. Anyways, you can find me at I am Corey in HD. I don't know why I said that. I was just looking at the statue, and I was like, "That's a cool statue." And I was like, "Oh
Wild
yeah,
statue.
yeah." Um, follow us on social media at Tower Casuals, all that stuff. I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening. Until next time, we love you. Goodbye.